Welcome and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jamie Naftali and this channel is about kids welfare. It's a channel on children. It's called the Pediatric World. Here I educate the mothers, the caregivers on common illnesses affecting children while growing up. And I talk in a language that every person, that mother, that caregiver is able to understand. So I try as much as possible to be a layman so that these people can understand. I want to encourage everybody to bring everybody into management and try to understand some of these illnesses that these children get while growing up. So I hope you've been doing well. So in our last episode, I know it has been a while. In our last episode, we started on congenital malformations, and we said these are the malformations or the abnormalities that children are born with. There's nothing we can do about it because they are born with. And we tackled on one of them, which is Down syndrome. We started and we said whatever causes this Down syndrome. So today we want to know more about this Down syndrome as one of the congenital malformations in children. So today we want to see and to know how these children with Downs present the clinical presentations. So this is where we are. So now let's start. Physically, how do these children look like? How do they present physically? So number one, they have eyes that slant upward. The eyes slant upward from the inner to outer corner. So this is how these eyes look like. They have got small ears that may even fold at the top. Their ears are very, very small and you can find them folding at the top. So they also have smaller than average mouth and large appearing tongue. You can imagine that their mouth is so small. You're going to note that most of their parts are smaller than the usual. So here we are saying the mouth is so small, yet the tongue is appears larger. It appears larger than the mouth. You can imagine that picture. This is how these children with Down syndrome present. They also have small nose. They have small nose with flattened nasal bridge. What do I mean? The noses are small, and then this is what we call the nasal bridge. This part here, this is the nasal bridge. So instead of having this fold that is here, their nasal bridge is like this. Yes, it is flattened. So this is one of the features that you'll be able to tell that this child could be having Down syndrome. They also have short arms and legs. Everything about them is short. So they have got two short arms, and also the legs are very, very short. They have wide space between the large and the second toe. They have a wide space between the large and the second toe. So this is the large toe, this is a big toe or the large toe. The second one is this one. So what we mean is, instead of this normal distance is what we are talking about. So for these children with Down syndrome, the space between this index finger or the second finger and the thumb or the big toe is usually very large. It is like this. This distance is very, very large. So you're able to tell it is larger than usual. So this is how you'll be able to tell that this child could be having Down syndrome. Interesting. They also have short neck. So you find that there's no space here between the head and the neck. So it's almost one thing. They have very, very short neck. They have small hands with short fingers. The two fingers again are very small. The hands are short and also the fingers are very, very short. They have one single palmar crease that grows straight across the palm. So what do I mean here? So when I hope you're seeing this. So these are the creases we are talking about, the creases on the palm. We have several creases, like 1, 2, 3. But for these children with Down syndrome, they have one single crease that goes across the whole palm. So it just comes downward, just one crease. We don't find the rest of the creases, many creases. They just have one single crease that comes across, it cuts across the palm. They have shorter than average height. These children, you never find them tall. They are very, very short in terms of height again. They have got low muscle tone. So this is what we call hypotonia, and the joints are very flexible. So they have very low tone, hypotonia. The meaning of hypotonia is that the muscles are very low. They have low muscle tone. So, or you can say if they are floppy, you find them when you hold their hands like this, it just falls down. This is what we mean by having low muscle tone, or they are hypotonic. So they have low set ears. Low set ears, what do I mean with low set ears? You can see this difference between these ears here where they have started. So normally when you draw a perpendicular line from the corners of the eyes, if you go right straight, you're supposed to find where the ears are starting, the fold. So you go straight, so you're supposed to find, normally you're supposed to find this cartilage of the ear starting here. But for the children with Down syndrome, they have low set ears, meaning when you go straight from the corners of the eyes, so you're not going to find this first cartilage of the ear. So the ears are downward. They have started downward from this upper part. So this is what we call low set ears. They have that presentation. You can be able to look at them and notice that. Now, how about their developmental and also the cognitive signs? So they have got delayed milestones. So remember, in every kid who is growing from a newborn to those many months until they are 1 year and above, until they are school going. So we have milestones, which we call, the meaning of these milestones is that you find a child, at a certain point, this child is expected to crawl. At a certain point, this child is supposed to sit with support, sit without support, stand without support, depending with the months. But for these children with Down syndrome, all of their milestones are delayed. They take so long to attain their developmental milestones. Please check on a video I did about the developmental milestones, what age certain things are attained. Please go back and check so that you can understand what we mean by milestones. So with these children, they have delayed milestones. They have cognitive impairment, and also intellectual disability. Too unfortunate that when it comes to the brain, they have got impairment and intellectual disability. So they have specific patterns. They have, first of all, strength. When it comes to social engagement, they have strength and behaviors, but have challenges in attention. So you find these two children with Down syndrome, they will really socialize with other children or even with older people. They have got strength when it comes to social engagement with other people and behaviors, but they have challenges with attention. So they will not pay attention to you. So maybe it is in school, the teachers just notice that this child is not attentive in class. They just do other things. They're not attentive at all. This one is a cognitive sign that you're able to tell that this child might be having Down syndrome. They are again very stubborn. They have stubbornness. So you don't tell them anything, they don't listen. So they're very, very stubborn. They have impulsivity and also temper tantrums. So they're going to get angry so quickly. So you have to know the way of approaching these children. They get angry so fast. This is what we call temper tantrums. They also use self-talk to express information and understand. So you find this child talking to himself or to herself so that they want to understand the information. It's the best way to them to express information. They keep having self-talk. They talk to themselves. This is how these children with Down syndrome are present. Are some of the signs and symptoms that you'll see to say this child has got Down syndrome. How about diagnosis? How do we go about diagnosing Down syndrome? First, we do blood tests, and this is prenatally. Through prenatally, that is the ultrasounds. Prenatally, it's when this mom is pregnant. We want to do some tests. We take samples from the placenta. That is why what we are saying, it is prenatally. Before this child is born, when the mother is pregnant, we do these tests. Then this is one way of diagnosing. Another way is through, now after birth, we have these physical features that we have just talked about, how these children present, the single palmar crease, all these things that we have just talked about after birth, and you're able to diagnose that this is Down syndrome. We also do blood for karyotyping. So this is it, how we diagnose Down syndrome. How about treatment? How do we go about treating? Is there treatment for Down syndrome? No, the answer is no, unfortunately. Down syndrome has got no cure. So what do we do? So now, based on child's unique issue and developmental profile, so that is like we treat symptomatically. Remember, we said they are associated with other illnesses like the heart, the congenital heart diseases. So what we do is we give drugs for hypothyroidism because they are prone to getting hypothyroidism. We give drugs for seizures. Remember, we said they are prone into getting these convulsions, these tremors. We give drugs for leukemias. Also, leukemia is one that takes advantage of this Down syndrome. Most children with Down syndrome will have leukemias. Leukemias is blood cancers. It's very, very serious. So what we do, we treat these signs that accompany this Down syndrome. But the Down syndrome itself has got no cure. This is what we are saying. We also go on and do surgery for congenital heart diseases. We say they are associated with a lot of heart conditions. So we may need surgery for this congenital heart disease. We also need speech therapy because we need these children to talk well. So we can do speech therapy, and this is through the OT, the occupational therapy. These children will visit these clinics, the occupational therapy. This is to improve the motor skills so that they can improve the motor skills. We also need physiotherapy. Physiotherapy will increase the mobility and the muscle strength. Remember, we say they have got low muscle tone. They're very floppy. They are not strong when it comes to muscles. So we need the physiotherapy. This is where the exercises, they are going to be straightened, the muscles, all that. This is all about physiotherapy so that we can strengthen these muscles. About the behavior, we have behavioral therapy, and like we also need different specialities, e.g. the ENT, the ear, nose, and throat, because of the many problems that we say. So what we are saying here is that Down syndrome has got no cure. All we do is we try to prevent it. We try to treat the conditions that they get associated with. The leukemias, the heart conditions, the hypothyroidism, all this is what we want to treat. So this is it about Down syndrome. I hope now you can identify a child with Down syndrome. I'm going to put a picture here so that you can, maybe it can come into your mind what we are talking about. The physical, the face of this child with Down syndrome. Remember, it's a congenital malformation, abnormality that these children are born with. Very serious. So thank you for keeping tuned. Thank you for listening. I am so grateful. Thank you. We are headed to 1,000 subscribers. Please, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe to become part of us. Also hit the gray notification bell so that you may be among the first people to know every time I post a new video here. Thank you. Till next time. Bye bye.